Hey dinosaur explorers! Have you ever wondered what it was like to be a Brachiosaurus, one of the tallest dinosaurs that ever lived? Today, we're going on an amazing adventure back in time, about 150 million years ago, to follow the incredible life of a Brachiosaurus from a tiny egg all the way to becoming a giant fossil we find today. So buckle up, because our time machine is ready to go. Our journey starts in a cozy nest. Imagine a giant dinosaur carefully choosing a safe spot to lay her eggs. Brachiosaurus moms will lay many eggs together in a big clutch, kind of like sea turtles do today. This was a smart strategy because with so many eggs, at least a few were likely to survive. Inside one of these eggs, our baby Brachiosaurus is getting ready to hatch. Pop! Out comes a tiny Brachiosaurus hatchling. Well, maybe not so tiny, even as a newborn. A baby Brachiosaurus was about 2 meters long as a grown-up's bed. But compared to its giant parents, it was still very small and needed a lot of protection. These little ones had shorter necks than the adults and would have to stay hidden in the thick ferns and soft plants to stay safe from hungry predators like Allosaurus. Life was a big challenge for a hatchling. Only about 1 in 100 would make it to adulthood. To stay safe, the young Brachiosaurus would quickly join the main herd. Traveling with the grown-ups was like having giant bodyguards. The herd provided protection, and the little ones could learn from the big dinosaurs where to find the best food and water. They probably munched on soft leaves and tender shoots close to the ground. Now, let's talk about growing up. Young Brachiosaurus grew super fast. Can you believe they could gain up to 14 kilograms a day? That's like gaining the weight of a big watermelon every single day. This amazing growth spurt helped them get big quickly, which was their best defense. In just 10 to 20 years, they would transform from a small, vulnerable youngster into a massive, towering adult. Scientists can even see growth rings in their fossilized bones, just like the rings in a tree, which tell us how old they were and how fast they grew. As our Brachiosaurus grows, its neck gets longer and longer. This wasn't just for looks. A long neck was a superpowered feeding tool. It allowed them to reach high up into the treetops, munching on leaves that no other dinosaur could get to. They were like the giraffes of the Jurassic world. They didn't have to compete for food with smaller herbivores on the ground. They would spend their days peacefully grazing on tall conifers, ginkgo trees, and ferns. And they had to eat a lot. An adult Brachiosaurus needed to eat between 400 and 880 pounds of plants every single day. That's a whole lot of salad. They had special peg-like teeth that were perfect for stripping leaves off branches. They didn't chew their food like we do, they just swallowed it whole. And their giant stomachs would do all the hard work of digesting it. Living in a herd wasn't just for safety, it was also about family. Brachiosaurus were social animals. When it was time to find a mate, they might have had special courtship displays. Maybe the males showed off their long necks or made loud calls to impress the females, a bit like some birds do today. After finding a partner, the female would lay her eggs, and the cycle of life would begin all over again. Brachiosaurus weren't just eating and growing, they were also changing the world around them. They were what scientists call ecosystem engineers. By eating leaves from the tops of trees, they created clearings in the forest, letting sunlight reach the ground. This helped new, different kinds of plants to grow, which then provided food for smaller animals. Even their giant footsteps could create pathways for other creatures, and their droppings acted as a super fertilizer for the soil. An adult Brachiosaurus was so huge that it had very few enemies. Its massive size was the ultimate defense against predators. Because they were so safe and had plenty of food, a Brachiosaurus could live for a very long time, maybe even up to 100 years. That's older than your grandparents. But as they got older, life would get a bit harder. Just like people, old dinosaurs would slow down. Their muscles might get weaker, making it harder to move their massive bodies and long necks to reach for food. This would make them more vulnerable and less able to keep up with the herd. It's a natural part of the life cycle for every living thing. Eventually, after a long and magnificent life, our Brachiosaurus' journey comes to an end. But this isn't a sad ending. It's the beginning of a new chapter. If the conditions were just right, its body would get covered by mud and sand over millions and millions of years. The bones will slowly turn into rock, becoming a fossil. This process is called fossilization, and it's incredibly rare. It's thanks to these amazing fossils that we know so much about Brachiosaurus today. Paleontologists, the scientists who study dinosaurs, act like detectives. They dig up these ancient bones and piece them together like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Every bone tells a story about how big they were, what they ate, how fast they grew, and even how they lived together. So, the next time you see a Brachiosaurus skeleton in a museum, remember the incredible journey it took, from a small egg in a nest to a fast-growing youngster hiding in the ferns, to a towering giant shaping the ancient forest, and finally, to a stone fossil sleeping under the earth for millions of years, waiting for us to discover its story. What an epic life! Thanks for joining me on this awesome prehistoric adventure. I hope you had as much fun as I did. If you love learning about the Brachiosaurus, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more amazing dinosaur stories. See you next time, explorers!